Welcome to the Reality Rant vidcast. Apparently, we're still on YouTube after a couple of weeks, which is kind of shocking. I really thought our videos would be removed by this point.
No, they're too busy removing the Xbox Kinect videos of the guy using it for porn.
Yes. Dangerous thing, folks. Don't dance naked. It's just not a good idea at any point. Eric Pierce here from GameShowNewsNet.com, alongside Bill Hammond from Reality News Online, the man who was able in his last column on there to predict the Survivor victor.
Yay!
How about that? Hey, take credit where you can get it. Woo. I apparently have a thing for red shirts. I don't know why I keep wearing them when we do these vidcasts. It just happens that way.
You're telling the world that you want to be the first one to die in a Star Trek episode.
I don't know. Really? Star Trek references?
Yes. As if the fact that I'm a 270-pound guy wearing a buff didn't give away the fact that I'm a nerd. Come on.
Not at all, but what we did promise you in the Reality Rant podcast, which you should be downloading on iTunes, please go ahead and do that, is that we were going to talk Survivor right here.
Yep.
And specifically, Sash didn't get a single vote.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad. I mean,
out of the final three, he clearly was the best strategist left in the game.
He was the best strategist in the game, period. He was better than Brenda, better than Marty. And you know how
that hurts you to say.
And you know how much I love Marty, you know?
So at what point are we going to be able to sit here and say, or can we say that a strategist will be able to win Survivor?
I mean, the game kind of goes in cycles. I mean, obviously Hatch was the first main strategist and the first winner, and because of that, the idea of alliances and everything is now a part and parcel of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Tina was a nice guy vote. Ethan was kind of a mixture of the two, and then you get the lowest of the low, Vesepia being the absolute anti-player.
She was able to solve a quiz at Tribal Council.
Yes, I don't want no drama. It was like, you're on a reality show, bitch, be drama.
Hey.
But then immediately
back in the glory days.
But then immediately after that, you get Brian Hyde, arguably one of the 10 best strategists in the show's history. You know,
sure.
But in recent seasons, it's been a big block of, non-players winning. I don't want to even say non-players, just non-strategic players.
But here's the biggest problem. It's not a fact that the strategists don't do well in the game. Almost every season, we are seeing a strategist make it to that final tribal council.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that the juries tend to be vindictive and don't want to give credit to the person that beat them and potentially backstab them in order to do it.
Well, I mean, it's not always a vindictive jury. I mean, the last true
How would you characterize this last jury?
A bunch of idiots,
Okay, I'll take that.
The last true strategist to win this game was Parvati, and if you want to do a...
How crazy is that? Parvati, strategist!
And if you want to do like...
There was a time when Parvati was nothing but a flirt.
And if you want to do a case of, a purely original season with no callback players, then the last one was Todd in China. Okay. The reason Todd won was because he was able to make his case in front of the jury of, you all helped me get here, I had to vote you out for this reason, that reason. He buttered them up, basically, while explaining his strategic game. Whereas on the other side of the strategic coin, you had Amanda basically apologizing for her game. This is what Sash did last night as well. He basically apologized for his game rather than taking credit for it. We have had some bitter juries, like with Samoa and Heroes versus Villains. The fact that Russell got denied twice because the jury was just mad at him for doing what he needed to do. Fine. Mm-hmm. But go back to Tocantins, okay? JT versus Steven. JT wins in a unanimous vote, but the jury by itself wasn't bitter against Steven. It was more of a case that he was so under the radar with his strategy, like in the sense that he wanted to make sure that he was never looked at as the bad guy. He didn't want to be the villain.
Sure. So
he kept his machinations hidden. We saw it all in confessionals, but the jury never knew that he did all that stuff. In post-game interviews, among the other players, Taj, Debbie, Tyson, they all admitted, yeah, we never gave Steven that kind of credit in the game. We never knew he was pulling all these lines.
Right.
So it's not necessarily a case of always being bitter. Yes, when it came to the Russell seasons, they were bitter, hands down, no questions asked. When it came to Gabon and Bob's victory, it was just an anti-Sugar vote,
Okay.
And Sugar had actually, engineered it that way. She didn't want to win. She wanted a good person to win, which is why she's a hero. But for some other seasons, it's either not properly explaining your game or not properly showing it within the game so that the jury knows what you're able to do.
Here's my big problem.
Yes.
Okay, and I wrote it right down here on this handy-dandy little whiteboard. Reality News Online has a list of rules for every show. Things that you have to abide by if you want to have a shot at winning. In fact, there's a whole article written of why X lost.
We update it every season.
If you want to know why a person lost, you can just look at it. We're going to season 22 of Survivor, and I have not seen this rule added to that list. And
What
that
rule?
specifically is that there is no sorry in Survivor. Because when you get down to that final tribal council, as soon as you act like you're apologetic, that's admitting that you did something wrong. And when you admit that you did something wrong, they can make that the reason to not give you the money.
At the same time, while it's not a rule, it is a clause of the final appendix of the jury phase.
Yes.
It's knowing your jury and knowing how to react to them. Back in Vanuatu, Chris did basically spend the entire final jury apologizing, and he won, because he knew that when it came to all the guys like Chad and Sarge, he was getting their votes anyway. When it came to the women, he knew he had to get Julie and Eliza's votes, so he apologized for the hurt feelings. The problem is, when you have, again, let's go back to China, when you have Todd, who's unapologetic about his game and actually thanking people for playing the game with him and being there to, aid in his machinations, and you have Amanda straight apologizing, Todd's going to win. When you have a case of Chase, Sash, and Fabio, where Sash is saying, I'm the best strategist, but I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, and Chase is like, I want you to bring it to me. I know you're pissed at me. I want to be asked the questions, and I will tell you the truth. When you're that aggressive with it, yes, he's going to get those votes over Sash.
What does that say, Bill?
Hamburger, hamburger, hamburger.
Yeah, I read outwit, outplay, outlast. What does that mean, Bill?
Nothing to most of these people.
Why? Why? Why does outwit, outplay, outlast mean nothing? It is the Survivor credo.
Except for heroes versus villains.
Yeah, that was special.
What was that? Return, redemption, and something other that began with an R. Reading, writing, arithmetic.
Yeah, something like that. But I need to adjust this, Bill. This needs to be adjusted. There needs to be a fourth one added. Out-lie. Just when you were saying, apologize if necessary, lie through your frickin' teeth. Don't actually be sorry, mind you, but lie through your teeth to make people believe you when necessary. I mean, it's like Sash shut down during that final tribal. I mean, he didn't make any attempts to try to bolster his position.
Yeah, I've always thought, like, if I were in the position of being in the final three.
Yes.
Knowing that the only way I get there is by my strategy, because come on, physically it ain't happening.
Yeah, you never know.
I might get a couple of those brute strength
People
challenges.
Didn't have any faith in little old Jane.
I can win a couple of brute strength challenges.
Sure.
Like that first challenge in Samoa where Russell had to carry those those 50-pound platforms on his back. I can do that. But for the most part, it's going to have to be my ability to take people out that gets me to the end. So I've always been in the position where I would think to myself, if I'm in the final three,
yes,
I do lead by saying, for any hurt feelings, I apologize. However, I will not apologize for my game. I did what I needed to do to get myself to the end, to win this game, and one by one, I will explain to each of you why you needed to go at that appropriate time. Believe me, I want to be your friend. I want to be awesome with you guys and hang out and party as this is over, but this is a game. And I knew I was going to have to compromise who I am as a person because I'm a genuinely nice guy. I would have had to compromise that to get myself further. So yes, apologize for the hurt feelings, but not for the game.
Okay, so let's wrap this really, really quickly here. Looking forward to Redemption Island, is there going to be a possibility that a strategist will be able to not only make it to the end, but garner the respect necessary to win?
It's hard to say because, like I said...
Of course it's hard to say. That's what we're here for. Pick a side!
Like I said, early in the season, it was very much up and down season to season as to whether an emotional player, a physical player, or a strategist was going to win.
Yes.
The last several seasons, Micronesia was season 16 and we're going to 22. So basically 5 seasons in a row where a strategist has been penalized for said strategy. So looking ahead to Redemption Island, where literally the concept is once you're voted out, you can win MTV-style duel challenges to get to the final 4. It seems almost as if the show is encouraging people to eschew strategy in
so
favor
we're going
of...
to see The Miz on Survivor this season?
Not necessarily The Miz, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have at least one character like that. I mean, hell, go back to Micronesia. How well would Joel have done in this scenario? Joel would have been in the Final Four, you know it.
Definitely possible.
Unless one of the duels is a puzzle, which means...
It's going to happen. It has to happen. There have to be more puzzles.
But
kind of abuse the puzzles towards the end of this season.
Yeah, and that's why I picked Fabio to win, because he kept saying, I'm playing dumb. It was like, and he actually showed that. The 3 immunities in a row that he won, and we'll count the 4th one that he won at the merge. The only one that was purely physical was that first one at the merge. Everything else involved something to do with puzzles, balance, something that is more cerebral than physical.
So Fabio wins on brain power, which basically tells you exactly where this season of Survivor needs to go. So,
Flush.
As we flush away Survivor Nicaragua, I'm Eric Pierce from Game Show Newsnet. That's Bill Hammond from Reality News Online. And this Reality Rant vidcast is...
I have to take a poop now.